Hello guys, good day. Welcome once again to the next part of our learning session. Okay, so now we are on learning session 4 in the project construction and management subject. Okay, so we are now on the topic of PERT and CPM. Okay, so let's go to our presentation. Okay, so we are now in the introduction. I listed here some points in the history on how PERT and CPM was developed. Okay. Okay. So PERT is it means that a program evaluation and review technique. Okay. So that is PERT. Then CPM is the critical path method. Okay. So these two tool was developed independently in the later part of 1950. Okay, so these tool guys are very important tools in the engineering industry. Okay, so these tools are used in running a project. Okay, then networks used for planning and coordinating large scale projects. Okay, so these networks, we will learn this one in learning session 5. Then PERT began in 1958 through the Lockheed aircraft and US Navy to speed up the Polaris missile project. Okay, so I think if I'm not mistaken, okay, so the US that time want to expedite the completion of this missile project in contrast, I think, of the Soviet Union. Okay, so that is why they need to expedite the project. Then Polaris missile project is large. Okay, so this project is very big, involving 3,000 contractors and 11,000 subcontractors. Okay, so imagine guys that that figure of the contractors and subcontractors. So we can say that the project is really that big. Then PERT was proven successful in shortening the length of the project completion time. Okay, so that's the main purpose of these tools. Okay. Then CPM, the critical path method, developed in 1956. And during that time, it was developed by G.E. Kelly of Remington Rand Corporation and M.R. Walker of DuPont. Okay? Then CPM was designed as a tool for planning, scheduling, and control of construction work. Okay? Then PERT was developed as a result of looking for an improved method of planning and evaluating progress of a large-scale research and development program, just like the Polaris missile project uh, that I discussed a while ago. Then PERT CPM is a control tool. Okay, so this is a tool used by engineers, project managers, and other people involved in the construction of the project. Okay. Okay. So per CPM project requirements. Okay. So in our country, this tool is required. Okay. So in implementing projects. Okay. So in all major projects of the government, PERT and CPM network is a mandatory requirements. Okay. So under the Presidential Decree 1594, the prescribing policies, guidelines, rules, and regulations for government infrastructure contracts, it provides that the program of work shall include, among other things, the estimate of the work items. Okay, so this estimate is from the project, the quantities, cost, and per CPM network of the project activities. In the preparation of the bidding documents, the government shall make an estimate of the actual number of working days required to complete the project through PERT CPM analysis, the project activities, and corrected for holidays and weekends. Okay, so then in January 27, 1968, President Marcos issued a memorandum number 153, which provides that in order that the performance discipline on the field could be controlled, an easy reporting system could be made to facilitate the monitoring, evaluation, inspection, completion of infrastructure projects. All heads of department and chief of bureaus of and offices concerned are hereby required to change the old system of preparing the work programs of said projects. Okay, so this program before it was using Gantt chart bar type. Then it was changed to PERT and CPM network, and this issued by President Marcos uh, is noted as strict compliance. Okay, so they need to comply this one. Then in June 1968, the Executive Committee for Infrastructure Program implemented the presidential order in a letter to all implementing agencies. Okay, so this is the highlight of this letter. Your attention is invited to a presidential order requiring the preparation of a PERT CPM diagram for every major project prior to their actual construction. Okay, so that's the history of PERT CPM in our country. Then Section 6 of RA 5979 requires the application of PERT CPM technique to all projects with an estimated cost of 100,000 or more. So meaning, if you have a project worth 101,000, you are required to submit PERT and CPM technique. Okay? Okay, so the advantage of using PERT CPM, the project manager can easily obtain the following information. Okay, so number one is the graphical display of project activities. Okay, so meaning the project manager can easily see what's going on the project. Then, in case there is an unexpected delay, so he can create interventions for that one. Okay? An estimate of how long will the project last. Then number three, determine which activities are the most critical to timely project completion. Then number four, determine how long any activity can be delayed without lengthening the project. Okay, so this is in the identification of the activity. Okay, so this one is easily understand using the CPM, okay, the critical path method. Okay, so we have three pieces of PERT and CPM. Okay, so these are the three pieces. Number one is planning. Number two is scheduling. And number three is control monitor. Okay, so if you are an engineer or aspiring engineer, please keep that in mind that these phases is very important in the construction of any project. Okay, because you cannot complete a project without implementing one of these three. Okay, so planning, this is very important. Then scheduling for the completion. Then the control monitor. Okay, so especially on your resources. Then planning. So planning is defined as the determining the relationship between the work operation and the sequence in which they are to be performed. Okay? So in the planning phase, there are 5 inputs that can be obtained. So this is one. So number one is in your diagram defining the activities in the project. Okay, so we can learn more about networks on our next learning session. Then the contractor is provided with the revised schedules which reflect the actual work conditions and the project status. The number three, the contractor is supplied with cost status reports showing how much money is being disbursed or for what type of expenses. The number four, we have resource estimates. The number five, we have trade indicators. Okay, so we are now on scheduling. Okay, so scheduling is defined as a process of translating the arrow diagram into timetable of calendar days. Okay, then the PERT CPM diagram should be updated. Okay, so this should be working timely. Okay, so meaning this record or this diagram must be monitored. Okay, so daily. Then, so these are the account. Okay, so time discrepancies. Okay, then we have deliveries. Then the weather is very crucial in the construction, guys. Okay, so because there are activities that you cannot implement. Example, while raining. Okay, while there are storm. Okay, then change orders. Change orders can be either positive or negative, meaning these items is, if this is, let us say, positive, there are activities that was foreseen during the planning or the preparation of the project. Okay, so you have to add cost for that one. Then if that is negative, you will be you will be deducted for not doing a certain activity of the project. The number four is the conditions. Okay. Okay, so from the schedule phase, there are four output that can be obtained. Okay. So the schedule of activities of in the network showing the following. Okay. So letter A is the critical activities, meaning these activities are not to be delayed, should not be delayed. Okay. Letter B is the earliest start date of each activity. Then letter C is the earliest finish date for each activity. Then letter D is the latest start date. Okay. Then letter A is the latest finish date. The number F, so letter F is float, which refers to the amount of extra time available for an activity. Okay. Then, number two is a bar chart or a time scaled network. Okay, so arrow diagram network for the project. Okay, so number three is the resource analysis, showing the number of and kind of resources, manpower, equipment, and others that are required to each day of the project. The number four, we have a cash requirement, prediction indicating how much cash to be disbursed for the job and the amount of money that will be collected as a result of work accomplishment. Okay. Then we have controlling and monitoring. Okay, so controlling and monitoring is defined as the flexibility and updated recomputations brought about by changing conditions is the key to a successful network programming. Okay, so this controlling and monitoring usually happens during the course of the project. Okay, then to keep this schedule more up to date and meaningful, it can be done by hand, but it's more easier and less in cost if it's done in the help of computer. Okay. So because we are now on the computer age, So that is why controlling or monitoring nowadays is not that hard. Okay, so we can do things in the computer, okay, that will help our project. Okay, okay. Then the control monitor phase uses actual data which includes, okay, number one, the additions to the project. This refers to the new activities which positive change order occurs. Okay, so number two is the deletion from the project, meaning the negative change order. Then number three is the changes as to duration, a description, a trade indicators, a cost estimates, or a resource estimates. Then number four is the actual starting dates. Okay. Then number five is the actual finishing dates. Okay. Okay. So this data is used, okay, guys, in the control and monitoring of the project. This is all actual data. Okay, so the output phase consists of the following. Okay, so number one, the time status report. Okay, so number two, we have revised schedules. The number three, we have revised bar charts or arrow diagram or network. Okay, so which can be learned in our next learning session. Okay, so next is the revised resource analysis. The number four is the revised cash flow predictions. And number six is the cost status reports. Okay, so these are the possible outputs of the PERT and CPM. Okay, so if you can observe, guys, these items is very important. Okay, when you are running a project, especially the money matters, this one, the cost status report, the revised cash flow predictions, then revised resource analysis. Let us remember that when we are implementing a project, money is very important. So that is why the expending of money needs to be monitored. Okay, because there are sites or there are projects that let us say example that their materials are gone. Okay, so meaning maybe there are some hocus pocus during the projects. Okay, so that is why during the course of the project, monitoring is very important. Okay, okay, so we have to take note of the three major reasons for construction failure. Okay, so I think this is the last thing in this learning session 4. Okay, so the number one is the unbalanced organization due to lack of planning and scheduling. Okay, so this is what I've said a while ago, that planning and scheduling is very important. If either one of that is missing in the construction project, that could mean that that project will not prosper or will not be completed. Okay, that will be a source for a failure, okay, of the project. Okay, so that is why before you start a project, you have to check your plan. Okay, then then you have to check your schedules. If example, if the materials you need are all are all well scheduled, okay, for your activities. Example of that is, let us say you have an activity of a concrete pouring. Concrete pouring meaning the use of concrete or to make the mix of sand, gravel, and cement to make a concrete. Example, if you are pouring a slab, a floor, a beam, a column, or an slab, you need to see to it that all the materials are present before the implementation of that activities. Okay, so if not, then meaning it will be delayed. So if the project is delayed, meaning you already waste your manpower cost, okay, and also the time. Okay, so if you are working on on a government project, you will be penalized, especially in liquidated damages. Okay, so LD. Okay, so number two is the lack of financial planning. Okay, so this is more on budgeting. Okay, so you need to see to it that you have money to or resources to complete the project. Okay, so that is why I said a while ago that money is very important in every project. Okay, or resources. Okay, the number three is we have poor cost control. Okay, so it relates also to the financial planning. Okay, so meaning this cost control usually uh, enters during the implementation of project. Okay, so if you do not control your cost spending, so maybe you will be on a bad side of the of your construction project. Maybe uh that will be one of the reasons for a construction failure. Okay, so we need to always be reminded of these three items to prevent a construction failure. Okay, so guys, I think that is all for this learning session. For which we already discussed the PERT and CPM. Okay, remember PERT and CPM is very important in the completion of the project. Okay, so I think that's all, guys. Thank you and see you in our next learning session.